What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber die trying. You see the thumbnail. Demi Lovato, singer, who had a few drug issues or whatever, and she was supposed to get married or whatever, and it didn't work out. And then she came out basically, she's a pansexual, which means she's fluidly loving men or women. But it seems like she's just a lesbian and she just don't want to admit it yet by how she's talking. But one of the quotes in one of her interviews is saying that she's too gay to marry a man right now. And from all the things she's been saying, as far as relationships wise, I'm just using this as an example. She said she thought she would be married and probably have pregnant, but then she's accepted the fact that because she's a pansexual, that she'll probably not have kids. She might just adopt, which is harkening back to like the not having kids, accepting that part. That's like harkening back to like I guess the 80s or whatever. But this is what I want to get to. The fluidity of all of this, right? When you're trying to figure it out, that doesn't mean a guy will be here when she says, you know what? I'm straight enough to marry a man now. Because like she's 28. So the idea that you're fluid and you're pansexual means you don't know which direction you're going in, but if you just happen to get back over the guys, guys are just supposed to just happen to accept you, and then if you happen to switch back over to girls, you're just supposed to happen to accept that, and girls are supposed to happen to accept you, and if you switch back to guys, then the same guys are supposed to accept you again, and the women are supposed to accept that you went left again. It's like, listen. Look, if you all over the place, that's your problem. All right? It doesn't mean that people have to jostle back and forth when you jostle back and forth. That is highly narcissistic. That is highly silly. Because, when you change your mind, it's just supposed to be okay. And it's like, and for people who... And the reason I'm saying this is because I think people are going to people are appreciating that people are labeling themselves, because now that you have labeled yourself, then I can choose to deal with your label however I see fit. Because think about it. If you label yourself as a pansexual or bisexual or gender fluid and you flip back and forth, I can flip back and forth whether I should be with you too. You're looking like you looking like you flowing in another direction. I'm going over to do this. Or you fluid, so you can flow this way or that way, so I'm not even gonna involve myself because I'm not flowing this way and that way with you. I ain't got the time. You're not gonna waste my time. And I think this is the part that's more so the issue, because people don't want to admit that, using the last year and some change as a reference, I think the last thing you want to do in these times is be with a person who's here and who's there and who's here and who's there when life is already here and there and here and there. That's just something you're just not going to want to do. Like, she's rich, so it's different for her. But nobody says, you know what, maybe she wasted her ex-fiance's time. Maybe because she was all over the place, maybe that situation did something to him while she was saying that, she had drug problems and this, that, and the third, because one of the things about this is basically she was saying she wasn't in control of her life. But at the same time, we don't look at people like that as toxic people. Like a person who's, ironically, because she's finding herself and she's rich and famous and because she's a drug addict and she's in a relationship, but she's fluid, we don't look at that as a toxic situation. Like, and probably because she's a woman. Like, it's like that's a bad situation for a guy to be in a relationship with a person like that, because they're just, they're just one, small thing away from having a complete mental breakdown, because everything is everywhere. There is no structure. There is no order. There is no direction that this is really going, and it just can, it's a roller coaster ride, you know, that has no end. So to me, sometimes I appreciate the candor, so we can talk about things like this. But at the same time, it's like I think these people don't realize, that just because you're all over the place doesn't mean people have to be all over the place with you in the coming future. So I'm done. Like, share, subscribe, or die. Try and catch y'all in the next one. Peace.